A polynomial equation is the result of setting two polynomials equal to each other. And as we solve a polynomial equation, now one way that we're going to solve a polynomial equation is by factoring. And then if we can't factor, there will be some other means that we're going to be looking at throughout our textbook on how to find the results of a polynomial equation. So as we solve a polynomial equation, we want to make sure that the equation is written in standard form, meaning that the equation is equal to 0. And we want the powers, meaning our degree of a polynomial, to be in descending order. Okay? The polynomial on the other side is in descending powers of the variable. When we're talking about descending, I'm saying something such as we have 3x to the fourth minus 4x cubed plus 2x squared plus x minus 7 equals to 0. So this will be a polynomial equation, okay, where we would, if possible, we would try to solve this equation by factoring. If not, like I said before, we'll be looking at other ways of finding the results of a polynomial equation. So let's look at this example that we have here. It says solve the polynomial equation by factoring and then using the zero product principle. So we talked about how to use the zero product principle, and that was whenever we were looking at how to solve a quadratic equation by factoring. We would have to use that zero product principle. So let's look at this first example. We have 2x to the fourth minus 8x squared is equal to 0. This is what we want. We want this equation to equal to 0. So as we factor this equation, let's go back over the factoring methods. Is there GCF that can be factored out of both of these terms? If so, what? We can factor out a 2. So we're going to factor out a 2 and what else? X squared. So we're going to factor out 2x squared, and we're left with x squared minus 4 equals to 0. Then this x squared minus 4 can be factored again. X plus 2, x minus 2 equals to 0. Don't forget about the 2x squared. So now at this point, we have three factors: the 2x squared, the x plus 2, the x minus 2. We're going to use the zero product principle, where we're going to set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve. Let's take the first equation. We're going to divide by 2. We have x squared is equal to 0. We can take the square root to both sides to get rid of that power of 2. And we're going to have x is equal to 0. Doesn't matter if it's plus or minus 0. It's just 0. So here we have one solution. Let's solve the next two. So here we have x plus 2 is equal to 0. We're going to subtract 2 to both sides. We have x is equal to negative 2. And then the last one, to solve for x, we're going to add 2 to both sides. We have x is equal to 2. Now you can go in and you can check your work if you want to, okay, to see if those three solutions that we found makes this equation true. Now just for the sake of checking our work, now with 0, when we plug 0 in and raise it to any power, it's going to be 0. But when we times it to a number, it's still going to be 0. So this is going to be 0 minus 0. That checks out. Okay. Then if I wanted to, we can go to our calculator and just to substitute negative 2 in for x. So we can say here 2 times, and in parentheses I'm going to say negative 2 raised to the fourth power Okay, we'll just put that there. And then we have 8 times, open parenthesis, the quantity of negative 2 raised to the second power. That gives us 32. So you're saying 32 minus 32, that's 0. So it checks out. So if when x is negative 2 checks out, positive 2 is going to check out as well. So here is our solutions. 0, negative 2, positive 2.